Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and enjoy this fanfic part 2. Now let's start the fanfic. Alright, let's set up camp here, Kurenai told her team and the bridgemaker. They were at a small distance from the road. Kurenai set up a genjutsu that hid their presence from bandits and other minor threats. Their first day out of the hidden leaf was uneventful, much to Hinata and Kiba's dismay. Man, I was so looking forward to showing off what me and Akamaru learned. Kiba complained as they put their stuff down. Yeah, today was way too boring. Hinata agreed. Kurenai and Kiba and Akamaru to hunt some wild game. While they did bring food, Kurenai thought it would a good chance to build their survival skill, especially if she decided to let them participate in the upcoming Chunin exams. Besides, fresh game tasted much better than the ration bars they brought. Meanwhile, Hinata was fetching some firewood and Naruto was setting 2 tents, one for the boys and one for the girls. Meanwhile, Kurenai herself was keeping an eye on Tazuna, resisting the urge to pummel him for his drunken advances. Lucky for him, Shinobi trained to deal with difficult clients, whether it's drunks or stuck-up royalty. Kurenai then made a mental note to start Kiba and Hinata's training when they got back. Hinata returned with the firewood and set up a campfire. Soon after, Kiba returned with 2 wild turkeys. Naruto volunteered to make some stew using ingredients he brought with him. Kurenai, Kiba, and Tazuna were hesitant to accept his offer since none of them had ever had his cooking. Hinata, however, vouched for him, so they decided to give him a chance. They weren't disappointed. After 1 spoonful, Kiba dove right in, licking his bowl clean afterwards and asking for more. Akamaru did the same. Naruto complied and both partners started their second bowl. Wow, Naruto. I'm impressed. This is really good, Kurenai complimented. Naruto blushed at her praise. She then turned toward Hinata, leaned into her ear and whispered, "You picked a good one." Hinata nearly choked on her food once the words left Kurenai's mouth. Her face turned a little pink thinking about what Kurenai meant. Luckily, or in my opinion, unfortunately, Naruto was too busy giving Kiba his 3rd helpings to notice. She sighed in relief, but chastised herself for it. Why am I so nervous about this? Naruto would be lucky to date someone like me. And even if he doesn't feel the same way, there's no way he'd let it affect our friendship, right? I mean, I'm his best friend. Then she remembered how Ino was Sakura's best friend after she defended Sakura from bullies and yet Sakura herself ended the friendship to purse Sasuke. Maybe I should wait and see if he feels the same way. So Naruto, when did you learn to cook? Kiba asked. Shish shortly after meeting Hinata. Why? Well, she changed my life for the be better, Naruto stuttered. I mean, if it weren't for her. Naruto stopped and looked down sadly. Kiba and Kurenai both knew Naruto had a troubled childhood, but Hinata was the only one who knew exactly what he was referring to. Anyway, I was looking for a way to thank her, so I asked Tuki to give me some cooking lessons. Hinata was a little surprised. She never asked when he learned to cook and was flattered that he did it for her. She turned away to hide a blush that brightly appearing on her face. Why does he have this effect on me? I never blush, and yet I do it so easily around him. You didn't have to do that for me, but thank you, Naruto. You're a good friend. Again, Naruto blushed, only a little bit deeper since the compliment came from Hinata this time. Hey, if being a ninja doesn't work out, I'm sure Tuki would hire in a sec. Kiba said. Then again, he might be worried you'll eat all the ramen. Everyone laughed, except for Tazuna, who kept looking around, worried about something. Sasuke laid awake in bed. Sleep never came easily to him, as memories of his clan would often plague him. He would remember his mother's laughter and one of the few times he saw his father look at him with pride. But the worst memories were of Itachi, the brother he looked up to. The brother he thought loved him. And the brother who betrayed him and the entire clan. He still remember Itachi's Tsukuyomi, which forced him to watch Itachi kill every single member of his clan over and over. These memories served as a reminder of his goal. They hardened his heart, and they push him to become strong so he can finally avenge the Uchiha and bring about its rebirth, stronger than ever. However, on this particular night, he was not thinking about his older brother. No, he was thinking about Hinata, the girl he needed to make the Uchiha stronger than ever. Unfortunately, there was no way for him to win her heart. Damn, I have an army of fangirls and the one girl who isn't crazy about me is the one I want. And he knew exactly who to blame for that, Naruto Uzumaki. Even if the two were completely oblivious to each other's feelings, Sasuke could see it, and it was only a matter of time before one of them acted on it. If only I knew Naruto's secret. He was fully aware of the looks people gave the blonde, yet he had no idea why. Everyone he asked said the same thing, that they weren't supposed to talk about it by order of the Hokage. And if the Hokage was involved, it must be major. Unfortunately, all efforts to learn said secret ended in failure. Of course, even if I did reveal his dirty little secret to Hinata, that still wouldn't guarantee she'd coming running to me, so how do I ensure her future as an Uchiha? Suddenly, an idea formed inside Sasuke's mind. Of course, that's the answer. Why didn't I think of this sooner? Sasuke closed his eyes and went to sleep. Tomorrow, he would start planning. Naruto woke up with a start. He had another Nine Tails rampage nightmare. This time though, it started with the image of a red eye with 3 tomos. Looking to his left he saw Kiba in his sleeping bag with Akamaru curled up next to him. Turning his right, Tazuna was fast asleep. Unable to go back to sleep, Naruto decided to get some fresh air, so he quietly tiptoed out of the tent. Once outside, he noticed someone else. Hinata was sitting down, leaning back against a tree. Her eyes were locked on the night sky. The light of the full moon shined on her, giving her hair a dark blue tint. She's so beautiful. He just looked at her, enthralled by her beauty. Hinata soon felt his presence. She looked at him, not noticing his daze, and said, "Can't sleep either, huh?" Naruto snapped out of his daze as soon as she spoke and looked down blushing. "Why yeah, Sue. Since we're both up, why don't you join me?" Hinata patted the ground to her left, gesturing him to sit there. Naruto nodded and slowly made his way next to her. As he sat down, both resisted the urge to blush, and both failed, turning their heads away for each other. What's wrong with me? It's not like I haven't been this close to him before. So why does this feel different? Hey, Hinata. Hinata out of her train of thought and looked at him. Why or why you, up anyway. I sort of picked up one of Shikamaru's habits, only instead of cloud watching, I watch the night sky, Hinata answered. So, what about you? Come on. I told you my reason, it's only fair you give me yours. Why are you up? Well, Naruto tried to come up with a good lie. Just a W wasn't tried. Hinata raised her eyebrow in disbelief. Naruto, I know when you're lying. We have been friends for the past 2 years. Naruto sighed. Should have known it wouldn't work. Oh okay, the truth is, I had an nightmare and just C couldn't fall back asleep. It's nothing, don't worry about it. Hinata could tell he was lying about that last part, but only shook her head and turned her attention to the moon. It's beautiful, isn't it? Why yeah, Naruto agreed. Then, without thinking, he added, without a stutter, just like your eyes. As soon as the words left his mouth, he brought his right hand over his mouth and turned away, his face as red as a tomato. Removing his hand but still looking away, he quickly added, I am meant that why your eyes are resemble the moon. I didn't mean that they're be beautiful. Not that they aren't, I mean they are but Hinata couldn't help but giggle as Naruto continued to fumble his words. He's kinda cute when he gets this way. Don't worry, I think I know what you mean. She smiled at him then set her eyes onto the night sky. However, her thoughts wandered to her childhood, specifically one person. You know, My mother used to say my eyes were like two lavender moons. Naruto just nodded. Hinata's mother Hitomi was a sore subject for her and Naruto knew it. She died giving birth to Hanabi, and Hinata missed her dearly. If you don't want to talk about her. No, I admit it makes me feel sad, but it's better than forgetting about her. Anyway, did you know she was a lot like me when she was young? Really? If you thought I was bad, the stories she told me make me look like an amateur. Of course, she had a partner to help. But she was kind, helping others who have been bullied or treated badly. In fact, bullies were usually her victims. When she was alive, my dad wasn't as cold. In fact, he acted more like a loving father and husband than a clan head. Hinata remember how Hiashi grew cold when Hitomi died. It got worse when Hisashi died not long afterwards. Losing two of the people he cared most for, Hiashi was never the same. Hinata turned to look at Naruto, who had a sad look on his face. Curious as to why he was sad, she asked, "Hey, what's wrong?" It's nothing," Naruto. But Hinata wasn't having any of it. "I told you, I know when you're lying. So tell me, is something the matter?" Well, I guess, I was just wondering what my mom and dad were like. Shit, Hinata thought. I can't believe I forgot. Here I am, missing my mother, who I was lucky enough to spend time with and have memories of, while Naruto never knew his parents, or even who they were. I'm sorry. Why you have nothing to be sorry about. I'm glad you have fond memories of your mother. I'm sure someone knows who they were. Why don't we ask someone? Hinata offered. Naruto shook his head. I've already asked anyone who would talk to me. They either didn't know or won't tell me. What about the Hokage? Surely the old man knows something. Again, Naruto shook his head. He was the first one I asked. He told me wasn't ready to know. This angered Hinata. She thought I was wrong for the old man to keep something so important as the identity of Naruto's parents a secret. Naruto had every right to know. But before she could voice her opinion, Naruto continued. The worst thing is, I almost don't want to know. What? How could you not want to know who your parents were? Hinata was confused. The way the Hokage said was ready to know scares me. It makes me think. What if they weren't good people? Or what if was an accident they never wanted? What if? Naruto was on the verge of tears when Hinata shouted, "Stop!" She wasn't too loud as to wake the other or give away their position, but it was loud enough to get the young blonde's attention. She looked him right in the eyes. Naruto, I don't know why the old man won't tell you anything, but you shouldn't think like that. If you want my guess, I bet your parents loved you very much. In fact, I bet they died to keep you safe. I bet they were still alive, you would have had so many fond memories with them. And I bet they're cheering you on from the other side, just like my mom is cheering me on. Naruto let a small smile appear on his face. Why, you're right, Hinata. Aren't I always? She said with a smug grin. Then, two of them just sat there, eyes locked, lavender eyes meeting blue. And slowly, their faces inched forward slowly, the distance between their lips becoming shorter and shorter. Then they realized what they were doing and stopped. Sorry. I know you hate me for this. They both turned red and immediately separated. An awkward silence drifted between the two before Hinata decided to take their minds off it. Why, you know what would be funny? She asked, stuttering a little. What? If your mom was my mom's best friend. I doubt it, but that would be cool. What was her name? I don't know, but I remember what her nickname was. Oh. What was it? The red hot habanero. Naruto chuckled and the two friends continued to watch the night sky. Shortly afterwards, they fell asleep right there, against that tree, right next to each other. And they both had pleasant dreams. Kurenai woke up and stretched her arms. She looked to her right and found Hinata's sleeping bag empty. Did she wake up before me? Kurenai made her way out of the tent and found Hinata. And she wasn't alone. Naruto and Hinata were asleep, leaning against each other. Ah, they look so cute. Quickly and quietly, Kurenai returned to her tent, thanking God she remembered her camera. After taking a few snapshots, she made her way toward the sleeping genin. I've got to show this to Kakashi and Iruka. Maybe Anko and Asuma too. And I wouldn't be surprised if Lord Third wanted a copy. She put away her camera and shook their shoulders. The two genin opened their eyes. Have a good night, Kurenai teased. Hinata and Naruto realized their position and blushed as they stood and separated, Hinata more pink and Naruto full red. Kurenai could barely contain her laughter. I guess I have to keep an eye on you two if you're going to sneak away to sleep with each other. And no, sensei. That's not. I mean we didn't. Hinata tried to explain while Naruto turned redder and fainted. Luckily, Kurenai caught him before he hit the ground. Relax, Hinata. I'm only teasing, Kurenai said, laughing. Hinata glared at her sensei for a moment. But seriously, why were you two sleeping out here? Neither of us could sleep, so we talked a bit and then we watched the stars. Hinata answered, her blush disappearing. How romantic. Sensei. Hinata's blush returned. Hey, what's going on out here? Kurenai and Hinata turned to see Kiba exit the other tent, with Akamaru on his head. Why is Naruto out here still asleep? Kurenai remembered the unconscious blonde in her arms and woke him up. Tazuna soon exited the tent. Hey, can we get going soon? I'd like to be home as soon as possible. That bridge won't build itself. He's right. The soon we leave, the less chance of something happening on our way. Kiba and Hinata both didn't mind the idea of fighting some bandits, but did as they were told and Team 8 quickly pack up their supplies. Once back on the road, they used the same formation as yesterday. Hinata and Naruto, however, were both distracted by what almost happened last night. Did we almost kiss? And did he want to? Or did he not know what was going on? Why does it have to feel so complex? Naruto was thinking something similar. I almost kissed Hinata. I can't believe I almost kissed Hinata. And she didn't look completely against it. Or did she not know? What should I do? As they walked along the road, they passed a puddle. Once Kurenai passed by it, two men popped out of the puddle. Both had forehead protectors with the symbol of the Hidden Mist Village, dark brown hair, dark eyes, and a rebreather covering the lower part of their faces. One of them had a black cloak, a single large horn in the middle of his protector, and a gauntlet on his right arm. The other one wore a brown camouflage suit, two small horns, each on the edges of his protector, and a gauntlet on his left arm. The two gauntlets were connected by a chain with razors, which was wrapped around Kurenai. The two aliens pulled on the chain, ripping Kurenai to shreds. Ha, she wasn't so tough. All right, Maizu, let kill our target, said the man in the cloak. With pleasure, Gozu, Maizu replied. And the two rushed after Tazuna. Tazuna grabbed Naruto and placed him in front of him. Don't just stand there. Do something. Save me. But Naruto didn't move. He stood, frozen as images of his past flooded his mind. Memories of the villagers chasing and beating him made Naruto feel as helpless as he did back then. Gozu and Maizu closed in for the kill, inches away from Naruto and Tazuna, gauntlets dripping with poison and sharp claws ready to slice. Suddenly, Hinata threw a shuriken at them. The shuriken hit the middle of the chain and pinned it to a nearby tree, stopping the duo's attack. Kiba threw a kunai to help keep it in place. Damn brats! Maizu shouted. The two looked at each other, then disconnected the chains and separated. Gozu went after Tazuna and Naruto while Maiza attacked Kiba and Hinata. Their speed caught both groups off guard. Gozu quickly slashed Naruto's throat, then stabbed Tazuna's heart with his gauntlet. Meanwhile, Maiza cut Kiba's chest and slashed Hinata's back. Mission accomplished. Now that the old man is dead we can. What the? Gozu stopped and looked at the bodies, which turned into pink flower petals. A genjutsu. When did? Tunneling Fang. Kiba rammed into Meza in a drill-like attack, throwing him back into a tree. Brother. Alright, now you've asked for it. Gozu prepared to strike Kiba when he heard a voice behind him. You're in my range. He turned to see Hinata, Byakugan activated and in the gentle fist stance. 8 trigrams 2 palms. 4 palms. 8 palms. 16 palms. 8 trigrams 32 palms. Hinata struck 32 times, each attack closing one of his chakra points. When she finished, Gozu laid on the ground, unable to move. Meza started to recover from Kiba's attack and saw his brother on the ground. You brats are gonna die right here, right now. He rushed at Hinata, only to receive a strong punch to his stomach by Kurenai. What? But we killed you. Meza fell unconscious and dropped to the ground. At the sight of Kurenai's remains was a bunch of splintered wood. Kurenai grabbed the two and tied them to a tree, placing them in a genjutsu to keep them docile. So these are the infamous demon brothers. I'm not impressed. I mean, a puddle in the path when it hasn't rained in days. It was much too obvious. Well, I guess most of you are of use. Tazuna said, emphasizing the word, most, and glaring at Naruto. The boy could only look down, ashamed at his weakness. Kurenai marched over to the drunk, grabbed the collar of his shirt, and pinned him against a tree. Hey, what are you? Now you listen to me. Kurenai roared. You're going to tell me why 2 rogue ninja would be after you? I don't. Bullshit. You didn't seem surprised that they were targeting you. And this whole trip, when you thought no one was looking, you'd look around like you were expecting something like this to happen. Now tell me the truth. Tazuna gulped and told them the whole story. He told the team about Gato and how he used his wealth and influence to take over the land of Waves transport and shipping. Since it was an island country, this gave Gato complete control over the government, finances, and the lives of its people, using an army of mercenaries to enforce his rule. His sad story, however, did nothing to suppress Kurenai anger. So let me get this straight, you hired children to deal with an infamous crime lord with the money and connections to hire dangerous missing nin. This is not what would be classified as a C rank mission, but an A- rank or at the very least a B rank. So you not only knowingly put my students in a situation they aren't ready for, but also cheated the Hidden Leaf Village. I'm sorry. The land of Waves has been poor ever since Gato took over. We didn't have enough money to afford to pay for an A- rank mission. And it never occurred to you to negotiate a payment plan with the Hokage. The fact that you think our village would turn down your request for help because you didn't have the money at the moment is an insult. Come on kids. We're heading back. But you can't. Tazuna argued. You lied to us and paid for a C rank mission knowing full well this would be A rank. We are under no obligation to complete this mission, Kurenai countered. Wait sensei. I think we should finish the mission. Hinata shouted. This was her first real mission as well as her first time outside of the Hidden Leaf Village. There was no way she was going to let something let this ruin it. Hinata. Kurenai started. Hinata's right. We can take whatever this Gato guy throws at us. I mean, we easily took these guys down. Kurenai was about to argue that Gato may have more powerful shinobi on his payroll when Naruto decided voice his opinion. Besides, we can't let those people suffer. We should help them. Tazuna decided to take advantage of the situation. Oh please, think of my people, my family. My daughter and grandson would be devastated if Gato were to kill me. He said overdramatically. Kurenai sighed. She could tell by the looks on her pupils' faces that they weren't going to budge. Alright fine. But I want all of you to stay close to me and do as you're told, no questions. Is that clear? Yes, sensei. All 3 genin said. Tazuna looked over his shoulder when no one was looking, smiled, and held up a peace sign, thinking, I win. Oh, and Tazuna, Kurenai called out before turning to face the bridge builder, once this is over, I'm not only expecting payment for a C rank mission, but also for you to discuss a payment plan for an A-rank mission with the Hokage at some point. This is non-negotiable. Consider it your punishment. With that, she began writing a message to the Hokage. Tazuna sighed heavily. Spoke too soon. Still, I suppose I'm getting off easy, considering I've brought children into this. I just hope they're as strong as they think. Enter. Team 7 entered the Hokage's office. They just finished another dull D-rank mission. This time they were washing dishes at Ichiraku. Strangely enough, Shino had an easier time than his teammates. Ah, Kakashi. I was just about have someone get you. This saves time, especially since you'd most likely arrive 2 hours late. I have a mission for you alone. Pardon me, Lord Third, but I'm busy with my team. Surely there are other Jonin capable of completing this mission. We will discuss that. Here is your payment, the rest of you are dismissed. The genin of Team 7 bowed a little before exiting. Once the door closed, Hiruzen explained, Team 8 has run into some unexpected complications. It seems the client withheld some information in order to reduce the mission rank. I see, now I know why you want me to go. Yes, you are the only available Jonin I can trust on a mission with Naruto. Most of our Jonin still resent Naruto because of the fox spirit he carries, and I fear if I send one of the other available Jonin, he might have an accident. Here is the message Kurenai sent. I've already sent Shinobi to retrieve the ninjas they managed to capture and tie up. You should be able to catch up with them quickly at your top speed in the land of waves. Dismissed. Kakashi exited and found his team waiting outside. Well, it looks like I'll be gone for a while. Now just because I'm away doesn't mean you can slack off on your training. I want you all to go to the library and grab a scroll for the tree climbing exercise. I expect to return to a team that can walk up trees using only chakra. Yes, Sensei, Sakura and Shino said. Sasuke just nodded in agreement. Good, was all he said before he disappeared. Sasuke, you want to head to the library with me? Sakura asked. I believe Kakashi-sensei intended for all of yous to go together, Shino said. Sakura shot him a glare telling him to shut up. I'm busy, was all Sasuke said before leaving them, making his way to the Hyuga complex. Kurenai and her team walk through a forest in the land of waves along a path in a diamond formation with Tazuna in the middle. Kurenai covered the rear with Hinata up front. Kiba covered the right flank and Naruto the left. We need to be careful. The next ninja Gato sent won't be Chunin, but at least Jonin level, and though unlikely, Gato might send too. He does have the money to afford it. There. Kiba shouted as he threw a kunai into the bushes, causing nearly giving the old drunk a heart attack. After hearing a thud, the group decided to check it out, only to find the kunai lodged into a tree with a frightened white rabbit just below it. Nice work, Kiba, you saved us from a rabbit. Hinata sarcastically remarked. That's odd. Could have sworn I sensed a person. Kiba said. All this fuss over a rodent? Tazuna questioned. Naruto walked up the small rabbit and picked him up. It's okay, Mr. Bunny, we won't hurt you. His voice was soothing as he hugged the rabbit gently, exactly the opposite of how the feudal lord's wife hugged her cat Tora. As the rabbit relaxed in his grip, Hinata looked with growing affection for her crush, and a little jealousy at the rabbit in his embrace. Tazuna, meanwhile, made a gagging noise. You should see him at my place. The pups love him, Kiba remarked, Akamaru barking in agreement before sniffing the air. Kurenai watched as Naruto fed the white rabbit a carrot, but her thoughts were not on the cute scene in front of her. That's a snow rabbit, but why is its fur white? That's only in the winter when there's little sunlight. He must have been raised in captivity to be used as a substitution, which means our enemies are already here. Everyone duck now. All of them did as told as a large blade passed above them. The blade embedded itself into a tree and a shirtless man with bandages covering his lower face appeared on the hilt. He had the same emblem on his forehead protector as the demon brother, only his didn't have any horns on it. Well. So these are the ninja who beat the demon brothers. Of course, Since you have the Genjutsu mistress Kurenai Yuhi, I'm not all that surprised. Who are you? Naruto asked in a shaky voice. The man smiled menacingly, amused by the fear in Naruto's voice. He seemed to disappear. Before the genin could react, he appeared behind the blonde, leaned into his ear and said, I am Zabuza Momochi, the demon of the hidden mist. Hiyashi was quite surprised to hear that Sasuke Uchiha had requested an audience with him. He considered turning the boy down, since the Uchiha and Hyuga had a rivalry before the massacre. However, he decided that now that the Uchiha was down to 2 members, one of which was a Rouge ninja, there was no point in continuing the feud. And Hiyashi was curious as to what the last Uchiha wanted with the head of the Hyuga. A branch family member knock on hid office door. Enter. Lord Hiyashi, Sasuke Uchiha is here. Hiyashi dismissed the servant and motioned Sasuke to take a seat. Sasuke bowed before doing so, knowing better than to act disrespectfully to the head of the Hyuga clan. I do not wish to take up too much of your time, Lord Hiyashi, so allow me to get straight to the point, Sasuke said. Please do. I'm curious as to what it is you seek to gain, Hiyashi responded in his emotionless voice. I wish to ask for your daughter's hand in marriage. I wish to ask for your daughter's hand in marriage. Hiyashi's face remained stoic as ever. But on the inside, he was quite surprised. In fact, this was the last thing he expected. I was unaware of such a close relationship you and my daughter. His voice remained emotionless, hiding his shock as well as any desire to either accept or decline. Okay, here comes the hard part. Sasuke thought. Unfortunately, I haven't had the pleasure as of yet. However, I believe such a union would be favorable to both our clans. Really? Please explain. The feud between our clans has gone on for generations. However, fate has given us a chance to fix that. Despite how atrocious the actions of Itachi in murdering the entire Uchiha clan. Sasuke stopped in order to maintain his composure as he thought back to that night. Hiyashi saw the anger in the boy and could not fault him for it. After all, the Hyuga head still felt the pain of losing his wife and twin brother. Sasuke lost his entire family, and at the hands of his own brother. Sasuke took another moment to suppress his hate as he continued. As I was saying, Itachi's crimes have given me the chance to fix the Uchiha clan's mistakes. Specifically with the Hyuga. Oh, and what mistake would that be? Swallowing his pride, Sasuke replied, we Uchiha considered ourselves superior to your clan because of our Sharingan. Unlike my ancestors, however, I am not blind to the power of the Byakugan. In fact, I'd say it rivals that of the Sharingan. If our 2 clans had cooperated, I dare say we'd be more feared than the Ino Shikacho. Once again, the last Uchiha managed to shock Hiyashi. Never in his wildest dream did he ever think he'd hear an Uchiha acknowledge another Kekkei Genkai, especially the Byakugan. And he could not argue that the combined strength of both the Uchiha and the Hyuga would be unmatched and held some appeal to him. I don't see any deception in him. Could he be serious? Of course Sasuke wasn't. It made him sick to his stomach, saying the Hyuga and their Byakugan were on par with the Uchiha and their Sharingan. Sure, he thought the Byakugan had its uses, otherwise he wouldn't bother with trying to get Hinata. However, there's no way their eyes could ever match the power of the Uchiha. But he needed to convince the Hyuga that he thought otherwise, and once the Uchiha were reborn and stronger than ever, he'd cut ties with the Hyuga. Luckily, Sasuke was an expert at keeping a straight face, except when the subject of his brother came up. He gave no sign of his deception. And I'm sure people would love to hear how the Hyuga helped restore a near-extinct clan like the Uchiha. Sasuke added, hoping to play on the Hyuga clan's vanity. I'm guessing there's more to this than building close bonds between our 2 clans. Hiyashi said. While he believed Sasuke's words, he thought there was more to this. Sasuke was hesitant to answer, wanting to keep his theory a secret. However, Hiyashi's uneasy gaze made him spill the beans. I admit, I have a theory. It's possible that the child of a Hyuga and an Uchiha may result in a new Kekkei Genkei, one that combines the power of the Byakugan and the Sharingan. And if not, Hiashi was also curious whether such a thing was possible. However, there was always a chance that the offspring of such a union would only carry one clan's eyes. If they possess the Byakugan, the Hyuga clan would be given all rights on the child. Of course, if a child inherited the Sharingan, all rights go to the Uchiha. And if your theory proves right, then the Hyuga and Uchiha clans would both possess possibly the most powerful bloodline. Just to be clear, I don't intend to use your daughter merely to prove my theory. I truly possess feelings for your daughter. Hiashi thought about this for a good while. The Uchiha boy showed no signs of deception in his eyes, and he did make some valid point. Helping the Uchiha would increase the Hyuga clan's popularity around the village and perhaps attract some powerful allies. Plus Sasuke was held in high opinion in the village. And it would keep Hinata away from Naruto. As clan head, he'd be foolish to turn the boy down. However, Sasuke Uchiha, while you do make many good points, I must decline your proposal. While I have no reason to doubt you, I'm afraid that my daughter does not share your feelings. Should this change and she agrees to such a union, I believe I would approve. As good as this sounds, I am a father. I cannot decide who my daughter marries. Though I have no intention of letting her stay with Uzumaki. So while I won't marry her off, I may have to take drastic measures. I understand. Thank you for your time. The last Uchiha bowed and left. Inside, Sasuke was furious. Damn it, I thought that would work. I'll figure some else out later. I've wasted enough time. I need to focus on getting stronger so I can kill Itachi. Zabuza moved away from the young Uzumaki when Kurenai threw a kunai at him. As the rogue ninja moved to retrieve his sword, Kurenai yelled to her team. Team 8, Manji formation. Protect the bridge builder. I'll deal with Zabuza. As the team moved into formation, Kiba tried to argue. Sensei, let us help. No, this guy is nothing like those other two. Kurenai answered as Zabuza pulled his sword out of the tree. He was a member of the Mist Anbu, and one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the Mist. You forgot a master of the silent killing, Zabuza added. Ninja art. Hidden mist jutsu. The mist rolled in and thickened until he was completely out of sight. Where'd he go? Naruto said nervously. Naruto's question was answered when Zabuza appeared behind Tazuna, his large sword ready to end his life when a kunai was thrown by Kurenai and hit the swordsman right between the eyes. However, instead of blood, water flowed out of the wound. When the rest of the body turned liquid, Kurenai realized it was a water clone and turned around just in time to see Zabuza swing his sword horizontally. Kurenai bent back to avoid being sliced in half by the large blade and kick up at the mist ninja's chin. As the swordsman reeled back from the impact, Kurenai started the hand signs for a genjutsu, but Zabuza recovered was on her before she could complete them, swinging his sword. He won't give me time to perform a genjutsu, so I'll have to use a quick ninjutsu. Flipping back to get some space, she once again started another series of hand signs, shorter than the last. Finishing before Zabuza could stop her, she unleashed the jutsu. Fire style. Phoenix Flower Jutsu. Kurenai launched a barrage of small fireballs at her opponent. Zabuza managed to dodge most of them. The last on he blocked with his sword before retreating into the mist. The leaf Jonin let out a wave of chakra from her body in order to move the mist and found Zabuza on her right swinging his sword diagonally from his left. Kurenai dodged by leaping back, but Zabuza realized his blade and sent a punch at Kurenai's gut. She twisted around the punch and sent a right hook at his head. Zabuza caught it and kicked Kurenai into a lake. As she broke through the surface, she noticed the water was unusually heavy. Zabuza moved quickly on top of the water and behind Kurenai. I have you now. Water prison jutsu. A second later Kurenai was trapped in a sphere of water. She tried to move but couldn't. This prison may be made of water, but it's harder than steel, Zabuza explained. You won't be able to move at all. Kurenai's eyes widened as she realized she was at the mercy of her enemy. Damn it. I underestimated him. And after what I said about him. Now, to deal with the bridge builder. Water clone jutsu. Water rose up and took the form of Zabuza. When the real Zabuza saw the surprised looks on the young genin, he said, HMPH, you think you're real ninja just because of your headbands, because you passed some class. True ninja are the ones who've stood at death's door so many times it's like a second home. The ones who've killed so many times, it doesn't even faze them. To call a bunch of upstarts like you ninja is a joke. Take Tazuna and run, Kurenai shouted. He needs to remain in contact with the sphere to keep me trapped, and water clones can only be a short distance away from the original. You can get away from him. The three genin looked at their sensei, then at their opponent. Kiba and Hinata nodded at each other and Kiba said, no. What? I'm giving you a direct order. He's too strong for the three of you. You're right, sensei, we're no match for him alone. Hinata said, which is why we have to fight him now. Even if we got away, if he managed to beat you, he'd find us and kill us. So me and Kiba are going to save you. She turned to her blonde friend. Naruto, you take Tazuna away from here so Zabuza doesn't target him during the fight. Naruto nodded slowly then took Tazuna away into the forest. The water clone made no effort to stop them. Well, I guess you two are my opponents now, the clone said. He pointed at Hinata. By your eyes, I'm guessing you're a Hyuga. Too bad your life ends here. I would have loved to fight you when you're older, when you're a challenge. He turned his attention to Kiba. And the marks on your face and the mud by your side tell me you're from the Inuzuka clan. I don't know who that blonde kid was, but I'll be sure to get acquainted with him soon enough. Byakugan. Hinata activated her bloodline, the veins around her eyes bulging. She dropped into her clan's gentle fist stance. You ready, Akamaru? When Akamaru barked in agreement, Kiba pulled out 2 food pills and tossed one to his partner. Once Akamaru swallowed the pill, his fur turned red. Kiba ate the other and performed one of his clan's techniques. Ninja art of beast mimicry. All fours jutsu. Kiba's body underwent a minor alteration. His nails turned to claws, his teeth resembled that of a canine, and his eyes grew wild, his pupils slited. As he positioned himself on all fours, Akamaru jumped on his back and Kiba performed another jutsu. Man-beast clone. In a puff of smoke, in Akamaru's place was another Kiba, in the same canine-like state. Kurenai continued to shout, hoping to get through to her 2 most stubborn students as well as the nin dog, but to no avail. And as the 3 combatants charged at Zabuza, she could only pray that they survive this encounter. Naruto took Tazuna only a short distance away before looking back. His friends were risking their lives while he was running. True, he had been told to get the bridge builder out of there, but Naruto still felt like he was running away. A part of him wanted to run back, to protect his precious people and fight with them. But Naruto was afraid, terrified of the missing nin. Zabuza was joinin level and a former Anbu, with years of experience and training. Naruto was a genin who barely passed the graduation test, had only about 2 to 3 years of real training, since no one helped him prior to meeting Hinata, and never won in his spars with Kiba, Hinata, and Choji. This was his first real mission and in his first fight as a ninja, he froze in fear. Would this time be any different? Would he just be a burden and get his friends killed? Or himself? I don't wanna die, not anymore. But I have to go back. I can't keep running away, relying on others protect me. Naruto reached up and touched his forehead protector, given to him by Iruka. He traced the leaf symbol. I'm a shinobi of the hidden leaf. I can't be afraid anymore. Naruto stopped and Tazuna gave the boy a confused look. Before he could inquire why he stopped, Naruto spoke, doing his best not to stutter. Tazuna, please hide here. He pointed to the thick bushes on his left. I'm sorry to leave you, but, before he could finish the old bridge builder raised his hand. I understand. You friends are in trouble and it's my fault. If I hadn't hid important facts when I asked for help, none of them would be in danger. While I do wish you'd take me home now, I won't be a burden any longer. Just make sure you save your sensei and come back alive. I still need protection and I'm not ready to die yet. Naruto was surprised but thanked him and left to return to his team, leaving behind 2 shadow clones just in case. He arrived at the edge of the clearing and spotted his friends. It did not look good. Both Kiba and Hinata were panting. Kiba had a cut on his left cheek just over his face mark. Hinata seemed to have fared better, having no cuts. However, she was holding her stomach, telling Naruto she suffered a strong hit in the gut. Akamaru was on the ground, once again in his puppy form. He was covered in water and unconscious, but otherwise alright. If that's all you got, then you've wasted my time. The real Zabuza said, still positioned behind Kurenai to keep her in his jutsu. Once again, Naruto froze as images of the villagers entered his mind once again. He was almost gave into his fear. No, no, not again. I won't be weak. Shaking his head in order to clear it of the memories, his hand slipped into his pouch. Dash. Zabuza watched as his clone got ready to deal with the 2 genin once again. Their dog was taken out when he attacked from above and was washed away into a tree when the clone jumped back to avoid Kiba and Hinata's attack and launched a water jutsu from his mouth. And though eventually they managed to hit and dispel his clone, he simply made another before either 2 could recover. Zabuza was so focused on the 2, he didn't notice the shuriken until it cut his right cheek. He was surprised to find his blood when he felt that area, and from the look on Kurenai's face, so was she. What? How? Those 2 brats were too busy with my clone to attack me directly. And I've been watching them the whole time. He looked at his prisoner. And she's still trapped. So who? Zabuza looked around until he spotted an orange spot at the edge of the clearing. Naruto sighed. His aim was off, so he only scratched his cheek. Have to remember to practice more. No point in hiding anymore. I know where you are. What kind of ninja wears such bright clothing? Zabuza shouted. Naruto gasped. He felt the urge to run away, but instead revealed himself. And approached his teammates. Finally grew a spine. Naruto ignored this. Right now the voice in his head was not what he needed to worry about. Naruto, what are you doing here? Why aren't you with Tazuna? Kurenai screamed. It was bad enough Kiba and Hinata refused to flee, but now Naruto was sticking his neck out. He's safe. And he's not alone. Naruto answered, surprising Zabuza. He figured he'd make it seem like they had more allies. Besides, since Zabuza didn't know what he could do, he could still surprise. Not that I'm unhappy to have your help, but you shouldn't have come back. Hinata was worried. They weren't doing too well, with Akamaru unconscious and both Kiba and herself getting their butts kicked. They needed a plan, or it was only a matter of time until one of them was seriously injured or worse. And Hinata couldn't live with herself if something happened to the boy she grew to care for. However, luck was on their side at the moment. I have a plan. Leaning close, he whispered the details. Zabuza waited patiently. He figured since they were mere genin they wouldn't pose any threat to him. And while he was curious as to who else was guarding the old man, he doubted whoever he, she, or they were will be too much trouble. Ready. Naruto's teammates nodded. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. Lots of smoke puffed and lingered for about 5 seconds, and roughly 100 Narutos stood in front of the clone. So, you know how to make shadow clones. And quite a great many at that. I'll admit, that's impressive for a genin, the clone Zabuza remarked as the army charged. But it's not enough. Despite the advantage of number, the Naruto clones were no match for Zabuza's water clone. He managed to dodge and counter each blow, and sometime would take out a number of them with his sword. Their numbers decreased dramatically. Kiba used his tunneling fang, but the clone dodged and Kiba ended up hitting 3 Narutos before Zabuza elbowed the back of his head. However, though most of the clones attacked the fake, about 20 of them charged at the real Zabuza. Using numbers to get by my clone. Not bad, kid. However, since Naruto had yet to learn the water walking technique, they had to jump at Zabuza. Using a kunai, the Zabuza managed to deflect incoming projectiles and hold off the clone while keeping his left hand in the water sphere. One Naruto was launched high in the air and came down on Zabuza's kunai with his own, while a second Naruto launched a third Naruto at him. Because he was busy blocking the first Naruto, Zabuza considered taking the blow. However, when he saw the third Naruto pull his left arm back, his eyes widened. So that's their game. No choice. Have to dodge. Zabuza pulled his arm out from his jutsu and dodged as Naruto thrusted his palm forward and managed to land a glancing blow to the side before landing in the water with the other Naruto. But instead of two Narutos surfacing, it was Naruto and Hinata. So, the Hyuga girl used the transformation when the smoke was up and hid among the clones, then waited for an opening to strike. Clever. My fault for letting my guard down. Zabuza thought as he held his side. The moment Kurenai was released, she had two kunai in hand. The one in her left she threw at the water clone as it slashed through the last of the shadow clones. The kunai struck true at the back of the head. Still bothered by the damage to his side, Zabuza just barely managed to parry Kurenai's attempt to stab him. He countered, but Kurenai twisted around him and swiped at the back of his neck. The mist shinobi jumped forward and turned toward her. It's still not enough. Without your genjutsu, you're nothing. And there's no way I'm letting you put me in one. Water style. Giant vortex jutsu. A large, liquid vortex was formed, and water was shot out and hit the leaf Jonin. Everything in its path was devastated, leaving trees either torn or uprooted. The jutsu created large ripples in the lake. Naruto and Hinata had to struggle keep their heads above water. When the jutsu ended and the water receded back into the lake, there was no sign of Kurenai. The two genin managed to swim back to land and rejoin their comrade, but then they noticed Zabuza walking towards them. Well, that takes care of that, he said. Now, shortly after his feet hit the ground, Zabuza felt the ground below him shift and morph. What the? An earth-style jutsu. A tree sprouted from the ground behind him, its branches wrapped around him. He struggled, but to no avail when Kurenai came halfway out of the tree and stabbed his shoulders. No, a genjutsu. But when you jumped away I dropped my kunai, performed the hand signs. The moment you looked back at me you were caught in my genjutsu. She pulled out another kunai. That's twice you've underestimated your opponent. Your fate is sealed, demon. She positioned her weapon to stab him in the neck. When Tsusenban stabbed him in the neck, the genjutsu broken, Zabuza's body fell to the ground. Indeed, his fate was sealed the moment he went rouge. The four-leaf nin turned to look at the newcomer standing on a branch, surprise evident on their faces. I must thank you, Leaf Shinobi. I've been tracking him down for a long time now, but if it weren't for you, I never would have gotten the opening I needed to finish the job. Kurenai studied the newcomer. Judging by your mask, I'd say you're a tracking ninja. Yes, I'm an elite member of the tracking unit, and my job was to eliminate Zabuza Momochi. Again, you have my thanks. The newcomer jumped down and approached Zabuza's body, slinging it over his shoulders. I will dispose of the corpse. Farewell. And then he disappeared. Kiba ran over to where Akamaru was. Akamaru. Buddy. Come on, speak to me. He shouted as he held his best friend. The little puppy tired and barked. Is he okay? Naruto asked. Kiba did a quick examination. He wasn't a vet like his sister, but from the looks of things, Akamaru didn't suffer any serious injuries. Yeah, he's fine. Probably the shock knocked him out, but there are no signs of any serious or permanent damage. Good. Hinata turned to the blonde. Nice plan, by the way. And I can't believe you made so many clones. That must take a lot of chakra. Naruto blushed at her acknowledgement. Thanks, but it was nothing. Why, you were the one that managed to land a B blow on him. A- and IC could tell it did some D damage. Yeah, I'm great, aren't I? Hinata smiled and rubbed the back of her head with her right hand. But don't sell yourself short. I had an opening because of you. So start giving yourself some credit. I swear sometimes you're just too modest. Thanks. That's nice to hear, ya know. Hey, what about me? Kiba whined. I took out the clone, remember? You mean the 3 Naruto clones? What? No, and that wasn't my fault. I was taking about the first water clone we fought. I clawed at his back. Ringing any bells? Hinata pretended to think about it. Nope. No bells ringing here. Ah, come on. Hinata just laughed and Naruto couldn't help but snicker. Kurenai was catching her breath. The fight took more out of her than she realized. She approached her team and spoke. All right, you 3, enough chattering. Naruto, where did you leave Tazuna? Naruto pointed to where he had left previously. I in some bushes over that way. He's not alone. Il left 2 clones with him. Good. Kurenai took a look at Hinata and Naruto and noticed how wet they were. Take off your jackets. They're soaking wet and you'll catch a cold wearing them. Naruto immediately took his jacket off, revealing a light orange t-shirt with the kanji for fire in red. Hinata, however, was hesitant to remove her large cream-colored jacket. Don't worry about me, sensei. I'll be fine. Hinata, we don't know what else Gato may throw at us. We can't afford to take risk. Hinata sighed and did as she was told. She was wearing a plain black shirt that didn't show off that much. But it did show she matured better than others her age. Naruto blushed a bit and looked away to avoid staring. Kiba couldn't help but let out a wolf whistle. The 2 females rolled their eyes. Every single time, Hinata thought. This is why I wear that large jacket. Kiba leaned toward Naruto and whispered, if you don't ask her out soon, I will. Naruto was about to reaction when a noise came from the branch behind them. They turned around to see the one-eyed Jonin from the leaf. Kakashi looked at the state of Team 8, then at the damage to the landscape. Did I miss something? After picking up Tazuna from his hiding place, Team 8 along with Kakashi Hatake journeyed to the old bridge builder's home. It wasn't long before Naruto felt something brush his leg. He nearly jumped, but when he looked down, he saw it was the snow rabbit from earlier. Oh, it's you again, Mr. Bunny. Kakashi looked at Kurenai and raised his eyebrow. Mr. Bunny. Kurenai giggled and replied, an animal Zabuza used as a substitution. You should have seen the way Naruto acted with him. If it wasn't for the fact that it was obviously not a wild rabbit because of his fur color, I would have taken a picture. Speaking of which, I have one I've just got to show you. It looks like he's taken a real liking for you. Ya gonna keep him? Kiba asked. Naruto didn't know what to do. On one hand, it'd be nice to have some company at home. It got kinda lonely in his apartment. However, he was worried the villagers might try to make stew out of his furry friend. Don't think. Come on. Look how cute he is. Hinata picked him up and held him in front of Naruto. Besides, I don't think he'll leave you alone if he's followed you this far. Well, guess maybe IC could keep him. That's the spirit. I'll even come over and help. Naruto warmed up even more to the idea of keeping the rabbit, especially since it meant spending even more time with the girl of his dreams. Though we'll need a better name than Mr. Bunny. And we should make sure he is a Mr. Kiba added. Naruto and Hinata realized they never did check the rabbit's gender, and neither were eager to. Well, how about Yuki? It's you used for both genders, Naruto offered. I like it. Yuki. That's what we'll call you, little guy. Or girl. She then handed little Yuki, which means snow and happiness, by the way, over to Naruto. You check. What? Why me? Your rabbit, your job. But I don't wanna check. A- and US said you'd help, so you check. The two argued for a few minutes before Kiba rolled his eyes. Bunch of babies. All check. The two looked at him. What? I help my mom and sis whenever we have a new litter. The two shrugged and handed Yuki over to the Inuzuka. After his brief inspection, Kiba handed it over to Naruto. Congratulations, it's a boy. Are you three done? We still have a ways to go before arrive at my village. I have a bridge to build, remember? A madman to foil. Tizuna was annoyed by all the distractions. The longer it took, the more his people suffered. He's right, you know. Kakashi told Kurenai, especially if your suspicions prove to be true. What suspicions, sensei? Hinata asked. Remember that tracker nin from earlier? Her team nodded. Well, I suspected he was working with Zabuza. Everyone's eyes widened except Kakashi. But sensei, that guy K killed him. We all saw it ourselves. You even checked yourself. And I'm sure UW would have seen through it if it was AG Genjutsu, Naruto argued. You're right, it wasn't a Genjutsu or I would have noticed. However, Tracker Nin deal with the body on the spot. Instead, he took him away. But he struck him in the neck. And like Naruto said, you checked Zabuza's body yourself, he was dead. Hinata said, a little afraid. She did not like the idea of facing Zabuza again. Yes, I thought about that. Remember the weapons he used? You mean those needle? Kiba asked. Yes. Now it was Kakashi who spoke. Senbon are able to pierce deeply, but unless you hit a vital point, it wouldn't kill you. In the hands of one with both accuracy and knowledge of the human body, simulating the death of someone would be simple. So, Kurenai, are you absolutely sure Zabuza is still alive? Considering the boy carried the body away despite it being almost too heavy for him, as well as the use of precision weapons with low fatality rates, well, if I'm wrong, I'll buy Anko Dangos for a year. Her students looked confused, so she explained. My friend Anko and Dangos are like Naruto and Ramen. Their eyes widened when they realized just serious she had to be to bet that. Tizuna still didn't get it, but decided to take the looks on the others' faces that she had no doubts. So what now? He stuttered and turned to Kurenai. I mean, you almost lost against him. Don't worry, Kakashi said with smile that was barely visible under his mask. With 2 Jonin on the job, I doubt you have much to worry about. Besides, my students have proven themselves to be quite good, even if they fail to follow orders. Kiba and Hinata ignored that last part, but it seemed to bother Naruto. Well, I guess you're right. My house is not far from here. Let's go. The trio continued to walk forward, but Naruto seemed down and hung back. Kakashi noticed this and slowed down. Speaking quietly, Kakashi asked, You alright? Naruto kept his head down, but replied, I think Kurenai-sensei is you upset with us for disobeying her. Understandable. She is the ranking officer of your team. And you 3 did disobey a direct order. But we couldn't leave her. She's our sensei and friend. Kakashi sighed. Naruto, let me tell something very important. In this shinobi world, those that break the rules are scum. Naruto hung his head lower. However, he turned to hear this. Those that abandon their friends and comrades are worse than scum. And with that, Kakashi rejoined Kurenai up front, leaving Naruto to dwell on those words. So what was that about? Kurenai questioned. He was feeling a little guilty from that comment about them disobeying orders. You might want to talk with him more about that. That was mostly aimed at my other students. So what did you say to him? Oh, I just spread the wisdom of an old friend. Kurenai smiled, as she knew exactly what he meant. By the way, you can't be serious. About what? Kurenai asked, confused. There's just no way Naruto's ramen addiction can compare to Anko Dango problem. Kurenai laughed at that. Oh really? Then why don't you invite your team to our team lunch at Ichiraku's and you pay for his meal? I'll pass, but still, I know he likes ramen a lot, but it can't be that bad. Ask Iruka. He's bought Naruto ramen before, and I still remember the first team lunch where I let Naruto eat his usual amount. But that's a story for another time. And another chapter. Sasuke. Ino shouted as she ran toward the boy of her dreams. Ah, shit, Sasuke thought. Ino was about to hug Sasuke when Sakura ran interference and the two once again fought over who would be the Uchiha's girlfriend. Sasuke sighed and continued to practice the tree climbing. To his disdain, Sakura managed to master it first in a matter of minutes, even though she was the weakest of the three. And even though Shino had yet to complete the exercises, he was closer to succeeding than the Uchiha. As he fell on his bum for the umpteenth time, he remembered something about the blonde Kunoichi that would help him with his plans for Hinata. She was a gossiper as well as a friend of Naruto. Taking an opportunity while Sakura freaked out when one of Shino's bugs landed on her, he snuck away from his team and approached Ino. Hey, Ino, I want to talk to you, privately. Ino froze and her cheeks turned pink. Sasuke wants to talk to me. Privately. What could he want? Maybe he wants to ask me out, or kiss me. Take that, Sakura. Okay, okay. Be cool, Ino. Don't blow it. Shikamaru and Choji were suspicious and about to protest, but one death glare from Ino shut them up. Of course, Sasuke. Led on. As Sasuke lead Ino away, Choji turned to his lazy friend. What do you think he wants? I don't know, but whatever it is will definitely be troublesome. Choji nodded in agreement. Once the two were away from any eavesdroppers, Sasuke turned toward Ino and spoke. Ino, I need your help with something. What do you need help with, Sasuke? You're friends with Naruto, right? Yes. Why? Ino couldn't tell where this was going, but it was obvious it wasn't going to end like she hoped, to her disappointment. Well, I admit I've kinda been a bit of a jerk to him, but that's in the past. I noticed other people don't look at him favorably, but for some reason, no one will say why. Yeah, I don't get it. The way they act, you'd think he killed somebody. Ino agreed sadly. She herself had seen the glares and saw him get kicked out of her favorite clothing store just after entering. Yeah, it made me realize my mistake in treating him badly. I was hoping you would help me change their minds about him. I just need to know why they act that way. Can you find out? I knew it. Sasuke does have a soft spot. And he's sharing it with me of all people. Ino though. Of course I can. Good. And remember, he leaned in closer, causing Ino to blush. This is our little secret. And so is this. He kissed Ino on the cheek and returned to his team. Ino stood there for a few seconds, her brain processing what just happened. He kissed me. He kissed me. Sasuke just kissed me. Sure, it was on the cheek, but still. She reveled in her victory over the other Sasuke fangirls. Meanwhile, as Sasuke approached his team, deception and manipulation, two of the most important tools of a ninja. And while Ino does the work, I can focus on getting stronger. Sasuke, where did you go? Sakura asked. Nowhere important. Shino raises his brow in suspicion, but Sasuke ignores him and goes back to tree climbing. Dad, you're home. Tazuna's daughter shouts and gives him a hug. She has long, blue hair, a pink short-sleeved shirt with a red collar, and a long, blue skirt. Oh, who are they? She points toward Team 8 and Kakashi. Tsunami, these are the ninja from the Hidden Leaf I've hired to protect me. Yes, I'm Kurenai Yuhi and these are my student. Name's Kiba Inuzuka. This little guy's my partner Akamaru. Akamaru barked. And I'm Hinata Hyuga. N Naruto Uzumaki, ma'am. This is Yuki. He said, barely audible. Oh, and what about him? The one with one eye? Tsunami asked. Kakashi Hatake. He answered. Well, come in all of you. I'm sure we can find room for you somewhere. Everyone enters the house and sat down in the living room. Kiba, Hinata, and Naruto sat on the couch with Yuki on Naruto's lap and Akamaru still on Kiba's head while Kurenai and Kakashi stood behind them and Tazuna and Tsunami sat in chairs in front of them. Thank you for bringing my father back safely and helping us take back our home, though I must say, you three seem a little young to be ninja. Tsunami point to the three genin. Well, Kurenai looked for a way to explain, knowing that telling her they were genin 1 month out of the academy with no prior experience would not instill confidence. Luckily, Tazuna bailed her out. These kids proved themselves on the way here. And those two are high-ranking ninja. Trust me, they'll keep me safe. Yeah, we'll keep the old drunk safe and beat anyone who tries anything. Hinata shout. Yeah, right. You're just going to die. Everyone turns to see a boy with spiky, black hair in green jumpsuit, yellow shirt, and a white hat with two blue lines. No one can stand up to Gato, so just go back to your own village. Inari. That was very rude. These ninja kept your grandpa safe. Apologize. Tsunami scolded. Meanwhile, Kurenai kept Hinata restrained with her hand covering the Hyuga girl's mouth, knowing she'd do and say something reckless in retaliation. Kiba and Akamaru growled but otherwise kept quiet and Naruto just sat there. HMPH. Inari just headed upstairs. And where are you going? The boy's mother asked. To look out over the ocean. I wanna be alone. Shortly afterwards they heard a door slam. Sorry about that, Tazuna said. He's been like that since Gato took over. Kurenai released Hinata, who crossed her arms and mumbled, should be happy someone wants to help. Ungrateful twerp. Dash. Alright, let's start training. Kurenai said to her team. Kakashi leaned against a nearby tree while reading his book. Yuki was eating some nearby fireweed, looked up Rabbit's diet. We'll be doing the water walking exercise now. Why you mean like D during your fight? Naruto asked as he remembered how Kurenai and Zabuza easily fought atop the water. Yes, and I warn you, it won't be as easy as the tree climbing exercise. Hinata didn't look worried while Kiba and Naruto subconsciously rubbed their bums at the memory of how easy that training was. Unlike tree climbing, which requires a fixed amount of chakra at the soles of your feet, water walking requires you to change the chakra discharge in order to stay atop the water's shifting surface. If you don't, you'll fall in. Luckily, Tsunami was nice enough to lend us some towel. Since none of the genin brought their swimsuits, Kiba and Naruto had to stick with removing their jackets, shirts, and sandals. Hinata removed her jacket and sandals as well, but obviously kept her shirt. Now let me show you how it's done. Kurenai turned and walked onto the water. Hinata activated her Byakugan to look at her sensei's chakra to get a better idea of what to do. As you can see, or rather as Hinata can see, I'm constantly changing the flow of chakra to my feet in order to maintain my balance. How's this supposed to help us fight Zabuza? Should we be learning some kick jutsu? Hinata asked. Kurenai sighed. Listen, like I said when we did tree climbing, these kind of exercises will improve your chakra control, which in turn will help improve any and all jutsu you know or will learn. For example, hasn't the tree climbing exercise improved the use of your eyes, Hinata? After all, since then you've managed to keep your bloodline on longer by adjusting the amount of chakra flowing in your eyes. Hinata nodded in defeat. She couldn't deny that training produced more results than simply walking up a tree, something she figured wouldn't come in handy. Now then, let's begin. The three genin approached the water. Kiba and Naruto fell in the moment they stepped on the water. Hinata, on the other hand, managed to stay on top of the water a few minutes before losing her balance and falling in. Kurenai barely managed to contain her laughter at her students' failed attempts to walk on water. Hinata managed to completely maintain her balance on her third try, though Kurenai told her to continue practicing. A few tries later, Akamaru got the hang of it as well. Looks like Akamaru has better chakra control than the two of you. Hinata commented. Whenever she managed to suppress her laughter, Kurenai gave her two male students advice and helped them. By the end of the day, Naruto and Kiba could stand on top of the water without falling in, though it acquired their full concentration. Meanwhile, Hinata and Akamaru could jump around. Alright, that's enough for today. Hinata, Akamaru, good work today. Hinata, you and I will do some light sparring tomorrow atop the water. Kiba, Naruto, you'll keep practicing with Kakashi. Huh. Kakashi's gaze left his book upon hearing his name. That's right, Kakashi. Don't think I'm gonna let you just stand there reading that trash. So tomorrow, you're lazy as helping train them. If you don't, you can kiss that book of yours goodbye. Do I make myself clear? Kakashi nodded frantically while hugging his book. Kurenai smiled and walked back to the house with Hinata behind her. Naruto picked up Yuki and stood by Kakashi with Kiba and Akamaru. Hey, Kakashi-sensei, why doesn't Kurenai-sensei like your book? Kiba asked, unaware of its contents. Simple, that woman has no appreciation for fine literature. He answered as he walked toward the house as well. Dinner was uneventful. Once finished, Kurenai announced the sleeping arrangements. Me and Hinata will sleep in the guest room. Kakashi, you can take the couch. Kiba, Naruto, you two will sleep in the attic. Kiba mumbled how unfair it was since those two got to sleep in a bed, but went up for some shut-eye. Naruto was about to follow when Kurenai added, and no sneaking out for some private time you two, pointing at the blonde and lavender-eyed girl while Kakashi looked with some curiosity. Both blushed before Hinata got defensive. It was like that. We didn't plan to both be awake. And it's not like anything happened. No, something almost happened. She thought as she thought about how they almost kissed. Whatever you say, Kurenai said, clearly enjoying herself. Kakashi took pity on the poor duo, so he stepped in. Speaking of private moments, I saw Asuma at your apartment a few nights ago. Care to explain? Now it was Kurenai's turn to blush. Hinata smiled deviously as she saw her moment and took it. You and Asuma-sensei, huh? Now that's interesting, she said, ready for payback, as she dragged Kurenai to their room for more teasing. Kurenai gave the white-haired Jonin a look that said, I'll get you for this. Kakashi just shrugged as he laid on the couch and went to sleep. The secret of Naruto Uzumaki proved to be a difficult challenge. But Ino loved challenges, especially when it came to information gathering. She is a Yamanaka after all. It's in her blood. Her father was captain of the intelligence division. And her natural determination to learn what's what was further fueled by her desire not to let Sasuke down. Ino first asked her father, who acted weird at first before refusing to answer. The same went for every adult she asked, including the ones who actually liked Naruto, which sadly wasn't much. She then tried eavesdropping on random civilians, but that didn't bear any fruit either. They all just called him monster, or demon brat, names she already knew were thrown at the poor boy. She finally learned the truth when she used a transformation to sneak into a bar. Secrets are often spilled when one is intoxicated enough. And one shinobi definitely was. I still ain't believe thmeyilxet that monster live, especially after bat he did, the man said. Shish. We're not supposed to talk about that. Hokage's orders, remember, his companion reminded. Ah, phooey, everyone here already knows. I guess. He relented. And I do agree. He's a danger to us all. We should finish what the fourth started. The fourth? Ino thought nearby, still in disguise. What does the fourth Hokage have to do with Naruto? Yeva. He may walk like he's human, FHE may go by Naruto, but everyone news is really da damn nine tails. Ino had to cover her mouth to hide her gasp. Naruto, the nine tails? No, that can't be true. The fourth Hokage killed that monster. Ino ran home, unsure what to believe. She wanted to think he misheard him, or that he was wrong, but something in her wouldn't let it go. She needed this clear up, so when her father came home from work, she confronted him. Ino, my lovely daughter, what can I do for you? Inoichi noticed the look of distraught on Ino's face and grew worried. What's the matter? Did something happen? Ino looked up at her father and managed to choke out the words. I heard something about Naruto being connected to the Nine Tails. Is that truth? The look on her father's face was all the answer she needed. Oh God, it's true. Ino, listen to me. Inoichi said as he tried to calm his daughter down. Before you jump to any conclusions, let me explain just what happened that night almost 13 years ago. Okay. Ino calmed down, just a bit as she was still freaked out, but enough and nodded. Okay, here's the real story of what happened that night. Despite his strength, Lord Fourth could not kill the demon fox. It was much too powerful. So instead, he had to seal it inside a newborn child. That child was Naruto. Ino finished. Believe me, the fourth didn't like it, but it was the only way. His dying wish was that the village see him as a hero, because Naruto keeps the demon imprisoned inside him. But the villagers are fools stuck in grief over the ones they lost. And they use Naruto as an outlet. Lord Third tried his best. He made it illegal for us to tell the younger generation so that Naruto would have friends, and those that hurt him physically would be punished. But that didn't stop them, he continued. Parents told their children to stay away from him and even encouraged any ill will towards him. And I'm sure from hanging out with him that you've seen the villagers' contempt for him. Ino nodded. I once tried to adopt him, so did Shikaku, Choza, Sume, and even Shibi, but the council stopped us. Ino was stuck in shock, not only from learning the truth of her fellow blonde, but also hearing a bit about his past and the fact that he was almost her adopted brother. And as she listened to her father's tale, even though her Naruto was no threat to her shame, she still felt some fear toward the Jinchuriki. Listen to me. You can't tell anyone, not even your friends. It needs to be Naruto's decision. He'll tell you when he's ready. You mean he knows? He found out after the graduation exam from Mizuki. Your former sensei turned traitor and tried to use Naruto as a scapegoat. If it weren't for Iruka, he would have succeeded. Now please, take what I said to heart and don't let what you've learned affect your friendship. 2 days have passed since the fight with Zabuza. Hinata, Kiba, Naruto, and Akamaru have gotten the hang of water walking. They currently were sparring with Kakashi while guarded Tazuna at the bridge. Naruto swarmed him with clones, Kiba performed hit-and-run attacks with Akamaru, and Hinata was waiting for an opening provided by her teammates. She got it when he dove to the right to dodge Kiba and Akamaru's fang-over-fang attack. 8 trigrams. 32 palms. She struck 32 of his chakra points before he puffed into smoke. What? That was just a clone. Hinata yelled. Then where's the real one? Naruto asked. Right here. Naruto turned his head to see the Jonin crouched right behind him about to attack, Leaf's secret finger jutsu. Bullseye. 1,000 years of death. Naruto flew into the air before crashed down into the water. Hinata was shocked at the use of such a weird, let's go with weird move. Kiba on the other hand was laughing his off as he clutched his sides. Wow. Pretty effective. Ha ha. You think so? Kiba instantly stopped laughing as he looked behind to see Kakashi with the same hand sign as before. Oh, 1,000 years of death. Now it was Kiba's turn to go flying. Kakashi looked at Hinata, who instantly moved her hands to cover her rear. Don't worry. I'd never use such a technique on a lady, Hinata looked at him for a few seconds, before reactivating her Byakugan and returning to her fighting stance. Kakashi moved, but with her eyes she saw where he was going and struck to her left, but Kakashi caught her arm before her palm could connect and performed a sweep kick that had her lying on the water with a kunai to her neck. Not bad, but not good enough. Meanwhile, Kiba and Naruto climbed ashore, still sore from Kakashi's recent move. Hey, Kiba, I don't like sparring with Kakashi-sensei. Me neither. It's a pain in the, literally. What neither of them noticed was that in the shadow, Inari watched. They're wasting their time. They should just give up and run. Who do they think they are? Heroes. There's no such thing. Dinner time came and everyone was getting seated. Kurenai told her team of the village's poverty. Stores barely had any merchandise, children were forced to beg and steal to survive, and people are too afraid to do anything. Hinata looked finished eating when she noticed something on the wall. It was a torn picture of Inari, Tazuna, Tsunami, and one other person, but that was the part that was torn. Hey, what's with the torn picture? And who's the guy that's torn out? Tazuna's family immediately stopped what they were doing, their faces saddening, Inari more than the others. Clearly, this was a sore subject. That's my husband. Tsunami answered softly. They once called him a hero around here. Inari got out of his chair and made his way toward the door. Inari, where are you going? His mother asked, but he ignored her. Inari, come back here. But Inari was already out the door. Tsunami ran after her son, but not before scolding her father. Father, you know better than to call him that in front of Inari. The old man sighed. Sorry about that. I guess that's a sore subject. Hinata apologized, while rubbing the back of her head. Yes, it is. Tazuna replied. But you guys deserve an explanation, so listen. His name was Kaiza, and though not by blood, he was a true father figure to Inari. To better understand the situation, you need to know their history. Inari took care of this little puppy he named Pachi. But one day a group of bullies come, their leader claiming the dog as his own. Inari protested, but they held him tight. Tired of his complaining, the leader threw Pachi into the water. They told him if he really wanted his dog back, he would have to save Pachi himself. Hearing this really pissed off Kiba and Akamaru. However, Inari couldn't swim, and did nothing, hoping they'd have a change of heart. But instead, they pushed him in the water. Strangely enough, at that moment, Pachi learned to doggy paddle and swam to shore, with the bullies chasing after him. What? They left Inari to drown. Kurenai was furious upon hearing this. Yes, Tazuna said sadly. But fortunately, a stranger came by and saved him. That man was Kaiza. If it weren't for him, Inari would have drowned that day. Hinata and Naruto looked at each other, both thinking the same thing. It's like how we met, Naruto. If I didn't come along when I did, she didn't finish that thought. After that, the two were inseparable. He taught Inari to live with no regrets. To protect that which you care about with both arms, no matter how tough or sad, even if you have to put your life on the line. He saw Kaiza as the father he never had. He looked up to him, following in his footsteps. He was so happy when Kaiza married my daughter and I gladly called him son. Then one day he became so much more. There was a storm and the floodgates opened. Unless they were closed, the entire lower district would have been lost. However, the current was strong, and everyone was too afraid to swim out, tie the rope to the gate so they could pull it closed. Everyone, except Kaiza. That day he became a hero to this land. He taught us the meaning of courage, and Inari grew even more attached to him. Then came that dreadful day. The day Gato came to the land of waves and took over. Kaiza fought back, but Gato's mercs overwhelmed him and he was defeated. Gato had his arms cut off, crucified him, and publicly executed him as an example to anyone who defied Gato's rule. As poor Inari watched his father die, he changed. His spirit was crushed, as was everyone else's. They all lost faith in heroes. Everyone in the room was silent, slowly taking in this sad tale. After a few minutes of silence, Naruto got up and walked toward the door. Kurenai looked at her student and asked where he was going. Something I have to do, he answered. Everyone was surprised, since only a few of them ever heard him speak without a stutter, which in itself was rare. Naruto walked into Inari's room. Inari turned and asked harshly, "What do you want?" His eyes were red, clear indications that he had been crying. I heard about why your father. Inari showed some surprise, but otherwise remained the same. Then you understand. Does that mean you'll leave? It's better that you do, otherwise you'll die like he did. No. I'm here because, Naruto's voice started to falter. Taking a moment to gather his courage and find his voice, he finished. I'm gonna prove to you heroes do exist. Me and my team will keep your grandfather alive, and stop Gato. I promise. Inari grew angry at his words. You promise. You promise. My father made a promise too. He said he'd protect me and defend this land, and look where he is now. So don't go promising stuff like that like it means anything and get this through your head. There are no such thing as heroes. But of course a stupid kid like you would believe in them. None of you know what it's like to lose someone close to you. None of you know what it's like not to feel safe in your own home. No, you've all lived happy lives in that big village of yours. What could you know about what we've gone through? So go and take your bullshit elsewhere. Naruto just stood there, listening as Inari yelled and insulted him. And when he was done, he just turned around and left the house. That's when Hinata, who followed Naruto upstairs and listened in on their conversation, popped out from her hiding spot, pissed off. She grabbed Inari by the collar of his shirt and pulled him toward her face. What the hell is wrong with you? He wants to help you and you insult him. You should be grateful there's someone willing to help. I'm saving his life, Inari retorted. He and the rest of you are just throwing your lives away meaninglessly. Gato is too strong to be beaten. Besides, it's not like any of you know what our lives are like. I've heard about you, Hyuga. Your family lives a lavish life. Hinata activated her bloodline. Really? Tell me, are you aware that I lost my mother, or that I lost my uncle shortly after I was nearly kidnapped in my own home? Or that I have to work twice as hard as anyone just to meet the ridiculous standards of my clan because I'm the heiress? And what do you know about Naruto? You were right about what you said about Naruto never losing anybody, because he never had anyone to begin with. He's an orphan with no family and, until I met him, no friends, living alone. The people of our village always mistreated him, calling him names, encouraging their children to ignore or bully him, refusing him service. And the first time we meet, which was only almost 3 years ago, he was beaten badly by a bunch of adults right in front of his apartment. In fact, if I hadn't passed by, he would have died that day. Sound familiar? I snuck a peek at his medical records and found out it wasn't the first time, not by a long shot. Hinata walked to the door and opened it. Before she left, she said one final thing. Ask yourself this: do you really want things to stay the same? Is this really a life worth living? And with that, Hinata went after Naruto, leaving Inari to dwell on her words. She ran outside, hoping Naruto wasn't too hurt from Inari's words. Everyone else was asleep. She activated her Byakugan to look for him. After a few minutes of searching, she found him in a clearing, Yuki nearby, and what she saw surprised her. She had expected to find him sulking, or depressed. Instead, she found him sparring with 3 clones, each wielding a kunai. They charged at him, swinging their weapons. Naruto dove between the 2 in front of him and slashed at the back of one's neck. Then, he kicked the other one hard as the clone turned around and he dispelled 2. The last clone brought his kunai down, but the real Naruto raised his own and the 2 blades clashed. Both jumped back, and the real one threw his kunai right at the clone's heart. Hinata looked at Naruto's blue eyes and saw fiery determination. I've never seen that look in his eyes, not even during the graduation exam. He's really changed a lot. Hinata's heart swelled with pride as she looked at her friend. Deciding to make her presence known, she left the tree line and walked into the clearing. Naruto was surprised to see Hinata walk towards him. Hinata, what or why you doing here? I, overheard your conversation with Inari, then saw you leave. Why you didn't do anything too rash, alright? Naruto asked, worried Hinata's temper may have gotten the best of her. Relax, I just had a few choice words with him and left. He was left unharmed, you. So, I see you're training pretty hard. Well, yeah, I have to get stronger to keep my promise, ya know. Hinata smiled at this. Well, don't go trying to be a hero on your own. Remember, ya got me at your side. You and me, we'll save this land. In fact, she brought her left hand to the pouch strapped to her leg. She grabbed a kunai and gave herself a little cut in her right hand, just enough to draw blood. Naruto's eyes widened. Hinata, what are you? Calm down. There's a reason for this, but I need you to do the same, okay? Why? Naruto asked confused. Simple. We're gonna vow on our blood to never give in and keep our promises. Now, are you in or not? Naruto complied and did as Hinata had done earlier. After he was done, Hinata took his hand. Both of them blushed, Then Naruto spoke up. What now? I have no idea, she admitted. I've never done this before. Just give me a second. She thought about how to go about it. I got it. Okay. On this night we swear to never give up. She looked at Naruto, silently urging him to continue. He got the message. A and to N never go back on our word. That's our ninja way. Believe it. Naruto quietly added before covering his mouth with his left hand. Hinata raised her eyebrow at him. Believe it. Sorry. I don't know where that came from. Naruto said, embarrassed. Hinata just laughed as she walked to the edge of the clearing. She turned around to face Naruto. Alright. Well, enough of this, let's spar. After all, we've both gotta get stronger to uphold our word. She dropped into the gentle fist stance. Come at me with all you've got. Naruto nodded and summoned a couple of shadow clones and they all charged at Hinata. And the two of them trained throughout the night. Everyone was eating breakfast when Tsunami asked, Hey, where are Naruto and Hinata? They stop eating and look around to see that the two genin were missing. I thought it was unusually peaceful this morning, Tazuna joked. Now that I think about it, I never saw Hinata in the bedroom, Kurenai thought. Yeah, Naruto wasn't in his sleeping bag either, Kiba added. I'm sure they're fine. They probably were out training late, Kakashi'd. Me and Akamaru will go looking for them. After all, tracking is our specialty right next to kicking. The duo finished their breakfast and went off to find them, following their scent. A boy of the age of 15 walked through the forest. He had long black hair, dark brown eyes, and pale skin. The boy wore a pink kimono that had red edges, no sleeves, and had plum-colored swirls on it, along with a white sash around his waist and brown sandals. As he walked through the forest, he spied a child asleep on the floor. The child was a boy with blonde hair and an orange outfit. Still asleep, the blonde turned his head, revealing his headband with the leaf symbol. The older boy's eyes widened as he remembered seeing the boy a few days ago. He slowly approached the blonde and kneeled before him. His hand hovered above the sleeping boy's neck, positioned to choke the life out of him. And then the boy grabbed the blonde's shoulder and shook him awake. Hey, you'll catch a cold sleeping here. Wake up. The blonde awoke and looked at the one responsible for disturbing his sleep. Oh, hello ma'am. Ma'am, why does everyone think I'm a woman? Aren't you gonna tell me your name? Sorry. I'm Naruto. In this. Wait. Where's Hinata? Naruto looks around, trying to locate his friend. He spots her curled up next to a tree to his right. Oh, there she is. Well, Naruto, it's nice to meet you. My name's Haku. I'm gathering medicinal herbs for my father. He's currently injured at the moment, so I'm gonna use these herbs to heal him. Do you need any help? Naruto asked. Why, thank you. I'd like that, Haku answered. So while Hinata continued to sleep, Haku and Naruto gathered herbs. So I noticed your headband. Are you a ninja or are you making a fashion statement? Why yeah, I'm a ninja from the Leaf Village. I was out here training. Really? Why? Haku asked. I want to get stronger. But you look plenty strong. Isn't that enough? I'm not really that strong. Naruto said quietly. I need to get stronger, so I can earn the respect of others. There are people I need to prove myself to. So are you training for others, or yourself? Haku asked. Naruto didn't understand what Haku meant. Haku couldn't help but giggle at the boy's confusion. What's so funny? Instead of answering him, Haku decided to ask something. So, do you have someone precious to you? Perseus. Yes, someone close to you. Someone you want to protect with everything you've got. Someone who gives you purpose. So, do you? Naruto turned to look at the sleeping Hyuga. Yeah, I do, he said softly. Haku barely heard the words, but could tell by the look on Naruto's face that she was his most precious person. Good. 'Cause it's my belief that only when you have someone precious can you truly become strong, Haku said with a smile. And Naruto could help but smile a little too. So, what makes her so precious to you? Naruto blushed for a sec, but then his face grew sad, which did not go unnoticed by Haku. Well, I've been an orphan since the day I was born. And for most of my life, I was alone. Haku looked into his eyes and could see the loneliness in them, the same loneliness that had been in his own eyes. But then the loneliness left Naruto's eyes as he looked once again at Hinata. But then I met her. She saved me from my depression. She became my first friend. And soon enough, she helped me make more friends, and now I'm no longer alone. Haku smiled. I know how you feel. The man I'm gathering these herbs for is not my biological father, but after what he's done for me, well, I'm sure you can guess. What happened? Naruto asked curiously. Well, my parent died when I was 5. I had no other family, so I ended up on the streets. I spent 3 years alone, with no purpose in my life. Then, he came. He found me and took me in. And now my purpose is to protect him, with my life if necessary. She's not that much different from me. Naruto thought. Meanwhile, as Hinata slept, Yuki, whose fur had been slowing turning brown due to exposure to the sun and the lack of snow, came up to her and nuzzled her cheek. Hee hee. Naruto, that tickles. She muttered quietly. Slowly, she stirred from slumber and opened her eyes. Huh, oh, morning Yuki, she says, sitting up and stretching. Now where's? She looks around until she spies the blonde a bit across the forest, with someone she didn't know. Who's she? Hinata thought as she got up and walked toward them, Yuki next to her. Naruto heard them coming and turned to their direction. Good morning Hinata, Yuki. Hey, she said while looking at Haku. Who's she? She thinks I'm a woman too, huh? I'm a friend, Haku replied. I was out gathering herbs for my father when saw Naruto here passed out. I woke him up, and soon after, he offered to help me and we started talking. That better be all that happened. So, miss, what's your name? Haku was about to answer when they heard someone approaching. They all turned toward the noise to see Akamaru appeared, followed closely by Kiba. There you guys are. Kurenai-sensei and Kakashi-sensei were a little worried something happened to you last knee. Kiba stopped when he saw Haku. Well, hello there. Name's Kiba, one of the Hidden Leaf's top genin. So, what do you say we get to know each other better over lunch later? Haku giggled at Kiba as he asked him on a date. I'm afraid I have a busy day ahead of me. Which reminds me, I must be going. But perhaps one day we'll meet again, Haku said as he grabbed his basket. Oh, but before I go, I have one thing to say. Everyone gave Haku their attention. I'm a boy. Naruto and Hinata look embarrassed as they had that he was a she, but Kiba looked mortified. That chick was a dude. Hinata sighed and said, let's get going. You said our senseis were worried, so let's not keep them waiting. The 3 genin along with their animal companions walked back to Tazuna's house, though Kiba was still in a state of shock. But he looks like, can't believe that, was so sure. Akamaru looked back at where the older boy was, thinking his scent was familiar. Haku walked through the forest until he arrived at a hideout in one of the larger trees. He entered the building and into the bedroom, where the demon of the mist laid. I'm back, Master Zabuza. What took you so long? Zabuza demanded. Haku was supposed to be back half an hour ago, and he did not like to be kept waiting. Apologies, I ran into the genin you fought a few days ago. Oh, those brats. Zabuza examined the boy he had picked off the street years ago. You don't look like you've been in a fight, so what exactly happened? They didn't recognize me. In fact, they thought I was a woman, Haku answered, sounding a little annoyed at that last fact. Maybe if you didn't dress like that, got yourself a haircut, and laid off the makeup, you'd look more like a man. Zabuza said, more annoyed at the fact that they've had this argument many times before. But I like this look. Haku argued. Zabuza just shook his head and sighed. Just tell me you at least got some info off of them. Well, two of them were passed out from late night training. I think they're expecting us. No matter. I was gonna have you join me in the final battle else. The young blonde seems infatuated with Hyuga girl, and I'm guessing the feeling is mutual, from the way she was looking at me. Zabuza nodded. With proper planning and luck, they might be able to use that against them. Anything else? Yes, the Inuzuka mentioned someone named Kakashi was waiting for them at the bridge builder's home along with Kurenai. Zabuza's eyes widened upon hearing that name. Did you say Kakashi? Haku looked confused. Yes. Do you know him? Only by reputation. Kakashi Hatake of the Sharingan Eye, the man who's copied 1,000 jutsu. A dangerous opponent. If he was alone, I might be able to take him, but with the Genjutsu mistress, and those three brats, we won't stand a chance if we fight all of them at once. Then, perhaps we should leave, Haku suggested. It wasn't just that he didn't like these odds, or the fact that he despised Gato and what he was doing. No, the main reason was that Haku didn't want to have to fight them, especially Naruto. Under different circumstances, he believed the two of them would have been good friends. No, I won't ruin my reputation just because things got rough. We'll just have to keep one of the Jonin away from the battle. As you wish, Lord Zabuza. Haku said dejectedly. Well, judging from your current recovery rate, you should be ready to fight in about 2 days. Plenty of time. What happened to you two last night? Kurenai asked. The three genin, Akamaru, and Yuki returned to find both senseis waiting outside the house. I got worried when I woke up and saw you hadn't returned. Hinata rubbed the back of her head and smiled sheepishly. Sorry about that, sensei. Me and Naruto were doing some late night training. I guess we may have overdone it a bit and ended up sleeping outside. While I'm glad you're taking your training seriously, make sure to tell either me or Kakashi so one of us can supervise. Yes, sensei, the two replied. Good. Finish breakfast quickly, so we can begin, Kakashi said with a smile. Kiba and Naruto jumped back and covered theirs, remembering what Kakashi did yesterday during training. Kakashi, did you forget it's your turn to guard Tazuna at the bridge? Kurenai asked. Of course not. I didn't say I was gonna do it. Kiba and Naruto let out the breath they were holding in relief. Well, see ya. And with that, Kakashi left with Tazuna in tow. So what's up with two? You got nervous at the idea of training with Kakashi. Kurenai asked the two boys, curious about their reaction. Well, let's just say that with Kakashi-sensei, you learn to watch your back. And your. Kiba mentally added while Naruto nodded in agreement. Kurenai just shrugged and led the genin to where they would train. Come on Yuki, Naruto said to his little friend. He jumped into Naruto's arms as the young blonde followed his team to their destination. Hinata hung back to speak with Naruto. By the way, I haven't forgotten the bet we made. If you need help, ask Kiba. He's tagged along on some of my pranks so he'll be able to help you. Naruto sighed. Last night Hinata decided a bet would give them extra incentive. If within half an hour, Naruto could land 10 blows on her without being hit back, she'd treat him to as much ramen as he wanted. And hits by and on clones counted. If she won, however, Naruto would have to prank the Hokage when they got back. Naruto did better than Hinata expected. His best was 7 blows, and once it was almost 8, but Hinata managed to successfully dodge and counter. After that, she upped the ante, as she had no intention of losing. So in the end, Naruto ended losing the bet. After listening to Hinata's advice, Naruto decided he would talk to Kiba after training. Sasuke was soaking his sore body in the tub. Earlier he was jogging and when he turned a corner he ran into a woman with violet hair holding some dango. The collision knocked her treats out of her hands and onto the ground, pissing the woman off. A part of Sasuke felt he just made a big mistake. Sasuke got up and looked in the mirror, snake bites covering his shoulders and arms. A part of him thinks that if it weren't for that scared man, his forehead protector in a bandana style, stopping her and making her give him the antidotes for the poisons, he would have died. At least one good thing came out of that, Sasuke thought as he closed his eyes. A second later, he opened them, but they were different. Instead of black eyes, they were red. His left eye had one tomo and his right eye had two. My Sharingan is finally active. Just wait, brother. I become stronger and kill you. Sasuke got dressed in his PJs, which consisted of a black t-shirt with the Uchiha crest on the front and a pair of black shorts. But before he could get to bed, he heard someone knocking on his door. Grabbing a kunai just in case, he walked to his door and looked through the peephole to see who it was. There on the other side of the door was Ino. You got the info on Naruto? Sasuke asked as he opened the door. Ino nodded. Ever since finding out the truth, she debated on whether or not to follow her father's instructions or tell Sasuke what she learned. On one hand, this wasn't her secret, and to reveal said secret is a crime. However, Ino still felt she could trust Sasuke, though she didn't know he would react or what he would do with it. So Ino told him about Naruto having the nine-tailed fox sealed within him. Sasuke's eyes widened upon hearing that. So, what are we gonna do? Don't worry about it, was all he said before shutting the door and getting some sleep. Ino sighed. She was hoping to get another kiss on the cheek from Sasuke, or maybe on the lips this time. Still, it was getting late, so she probably interrupted his sleep or something. K Kiba, are you sure this is a good idea? Naruto asked. Trust me, he won't know what hit him. Kiborid. It's not that, Naruto argued. This plan is just kinda, embarrassing. Hey, you wanted my help. I guess. It's a good thing Tazuna has all the materials we need. Alright, show me what you've got so far.